She waged an effective campaign in the primaries, took a decent chunk of voters with her. So now, what are her people supposed to think about what's going on here?
She's a big disappointment. I mean, because now she's giving permission to her people to vote for him. And they might have stayed home and voted for Biden. Who knows what they would have done. But it was like the invasion of the body snatchers last night.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not.
Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Hassan, and the rest of The View have been having meltdowns repeatedly lately. They've been saying some absolutely insane things for a while, for years now. But things have really ramped up recently with Donald Trump destroying Joe Biden in the debate. Now Joe Biden dropping out of the race and endorsing Kamala Harris. It's been really bad for The View. Really, really bad for The View. They've gone very insane. You know, even Whoopi Goldberg, her legendary clip saying, "We all have poopy days," whenever trying to defend Joe Biden for pooping himself on stage in front of a nationally televised audience. They're going absolutely insane. This video is one of the most insane that I have seen yet from The View. Let's get into this clip here of Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of The View reacting to Nikki Haley endorsing Donald Trump at the RNC convention and absolutely losing their minds as a result. Let's check this out.
So the most anticipated speaker at last night's RNC was Nikki Haley, who was one of the Republican nominee's most vocal critics when she challenged him during the primaries. Take a look.
Chaos follows him.
He's gotten more unstable and unhinged.
And he's just toxic.
He's not qualified to be the president of the United States.
He is more diminished than he was, just like Joe Biden's more diminished than what he was. There is no way that the American people are going to vote for a convicted criminal. They're not.
But she had a big change of heart when she took the stage last night. Take a look.
President Trump asked me to speak to this convention in the name of unity. I'll start by making one thing perfectly clear. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period. If we have 4 more years of Biden or a single day of Harris, our country will be badly worse off. You don't have to agree with Trump 100% of the time to vote for him. Take it from me. I haven't always agreed with President Trump. But we agree more often than we disagree.
Pathetic.
They're acting like the same, like, oh my God, these people not understand how politics work. Guys, I don't know how much longer I can react to The View. People love to watch it. I love to watch their meltdowns too. It's getting to a point where like I see their faces fade into the screen and I just get overwhelmed with anger. These people not understand how politics work. Before this last election in 2020, Joe Biden was going at it with all these different candidates, all these different nominees or possible nominees. And then all of a sudden overnight, everybody got a call and they all dropped out and they all endorsed Joe Biden, even though they were calling him all these things, saying he's too old, saying his policies suck, saying, you know, all these things they were saying. All of a sudden, they all drop out and they all endorse Biden. That's how politics work, you absolute idiots. That's how these things work. They want their side to win. So they're all going to put their voters into the person who is the actual nominee, into the person who has the best chance of winning. They want to win and they go at it. That's how you see it's survival of the fittest. That's how you see who the best candidate is. Once the best candidate wins, you put all of your eggs in their basket. That's how these things work, you absolute morons. And they're going to act like they don't know this. And they might actually not, because they are absolute morons.
So disheartening.
She waged an effective campaign in the primaries, took a decent chunk of voters with her. So now, what are her people supposed to think about what's going on here?
She's a big disappointment. I mean, because now she's giving permission to her people to vote for him. And they might have stayed home and voted for Biden. Who knows what they would have done. But it was like the invasion of the body snatchers last night.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not. But I mean, everybody, she's not the only one. They're all up there kissing the ring of dear leader.
It's not the ring they're kissing.
They all, though Joy said, most of them, except I think for Chris Christie, that they would get behind Donald Trump if he were the nominee, and they are sticking to their word. They're getting in line. They're circling their wagons.
So DeSantis doesn't care that he insinuated he was a pedophile.
Does not care.
Or Cruz doesn't care that he said his wife was ugly.
They only care about power. They care about their party and power before their country, and that is very, very clear.
You know what I think? I think
That's what all politicians care about, you morons. Their whole job is to acquire more power. So of course they care about power. Of course they want their side to win. Like the same thing is on the left. Like I said, everybody got a call one night and then all of a sudden everybody dropped out and endorsed Biden. That's how this works.
I think they're addicted to their power. It's an addiction. Do you have an addiction? I have an addiction to Scrabble, okay?
She does.
And I really do. And I understand an addiction from that point of view. You don't want to give it up. And they're addicted. Yeah. They should have term limits. They should not be there forever and ever and ever. Yeah. These people, because they are addicted.
But think about it. I mean, they have such an imperfect candidate. You have someone that was impeached twice, not once. You have someone who was convicted of 34 felony counts. You have someone found liable for sexual abuse, ordered to pay $355 million for lying about his wealth in a New York civil fraud case. And they are all getting behind that kind of candidate. That's all you need to know about the Republican Party. Well, that's all you need to know.
Listen, it's increasingly lonely on my little island as a conservative in exile who doesn't really recognize this current Republican Party. And Donald Trump is, I believe, a historically unfit candidate. There's nobody that's got this resume that he does of the 34 felony counts and so on. But I think we have a big problem in this country of just rabid party loyalty over country. And like this came out just last night that Congressman Adam Schiff, who's running for Senate in California, very likely going to win that seat, on a private call is saying, I think if Biden is our nominee, I think we lose. We very well will lose the Senate and have a very likely chance of losing the House. You've got all these Democrats who are privately saying that, but they won't then come to the public and say, okay, if we want to put the country first, if we want to stop Donald Trump, let's have an open conversation.
It's so funny how they say this party loyalty. The View says this all the time. And this fake conservative just said it just now. Party loyalty above all is bad. Party loyalty above the loyalty to the country is bad. And yet all these people vote on is Donald Trump not winning. They don't care about making the country a better place. They don't care about the policies of their own candidate. They only care about, oh, Donald Trump is the enemy, therefore we must vote for Democrats. That's it. So it's very ironic coming from people like The View that's saying we need to stop having this party loyalty over the country's loyalty. And yet all they care about is Donald Trump not winning. That's it. That's the only thing that they care about. And that's how they vote. It's just very rich coming from The View.
There's something about maintaining your political power in the office you hold that is intoxicating and people can't walk away from it.
They have to wait for him to decide. Biden can't decide.
But they can call for it. They can tell him that
They've
think
been
he risks.
Plenty of people.
The thing is, it's not just the White House. It's the House, it's the Senate, and by extension, the Supreme Court.
It's really, I'm sorry. Everyone, don't forget what we've suggested when things get moved around, and people said, no, this is the will of the people. This is who they chose, and this is who they want. There's nothing you can do. My problem with the Republicans right now is the lying.
Yeah.
It's the lying. Because, you know, they're uniting around huge lies. Ted Cruz and Steve Scalise say Dems are letting illegal immigrants in to vote. Non-citizens cannot vote in federal elections. The only person who is trying to change that, and the amount of, I'm not even going to say the name. Just look it up, okay? Elise Stefanik blames Dems for a violent Biden criminal crisis.
That's not true.
What is she talking about?
Murder's down 26%.
Listening to this, any of the facts.
Does Sonny Hostin not know that there's more crimes than murder in the United States? Crime is definitely not down. I don't care what anybody says. You look at the numbers, like, I mean, every single holiday weekend in Chicago, it's like setting a new record. It's like 120 people shot over Memorial Day weekend. Every single holiday weekend, it's a new record in Chicago. It's horrible. It's horrible what's happening. And also, if the crime is down, that might be a direct result of the threshold, the bar for something being a crime going up. Like in California, where they make it you have to steal over $999 in order to actually get arrested for stealing. Maybe that has something to do with crime being down, you absolute morons. And just because maybe that murders are down, even if saying murders are down 60% is not a refutation of the point that crime is up. There are more crimes than just murder. You moron. Harvard grad moron.
Facts, their lack of facts, is disturbing. The falling in line is what I hate about our politics in general, which is why I remain an independent that's literally...
Oh, yeah, you're just so independent. Like, you definitely aren't going to vote for anybody who's not a Republican every single time. It's like, oh, my God. To think that these people even claim independent or anything ever when they're obviously paid Biden/Harris shills, paid Democrat DNC shills, very obviously, it's so laughable.
Literally, I left after watching the convention last night. I went to bed thinking, I don't even know what we do anymore, because in 2016, the RNC was still pushing back on Donald Trump. He still had, there was room, there were old conservatives like Alyssa, there were people in there that remained. Now RNC is run by a Trump. The entire convention thus far has been a MAGA double down on you are either pledging loyalty or you're out of this party. So I don't even know where the Alyssas of the world go, because I don't think all of them will follow.
Come on over, Alyssa.
No, but the problem is like there's millions of Americans who have genuine deep policy differences with the Democratic Party. And listen, I think there are a good number who are going to say Donald Trump's a big enough risk and concern that they're going to this one time hold their nose. But where do they go going forward? Like, we've been saying, like, guys, we care about border security. It took 3 years to care about it. Guys, we care about, bringing down inflation. It took so long to address
helping
it. So
foreign allies. They've abandoned the globalism of this populist wing.
And
they have no...
by the way, if I may say, my most...
Good. Screw the foreign allies. I don't care about them. I care about what's happening in the United States. That's good. It's a positive. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this meltdown from the View of these independents and these conservatives in exile. It's so ridiculous having the little meltdown on the View about Nikki Haley endorsing Donald Trump. Oh my God, a Republican endorsed the Republican nominee. I cannot believe it. Absolutely unbelievable. Let me know in the comments what you think about this ridiculous meltdown from the View.